Hi, and welcome to this talk. My name is Carl Michael Herlöfsson. I've been a sound engineer, music producer, artist, running record labels, composing film scores, commercials, and in general, been all over the music business for over 40 years. Started out in the analog days and been part of the analog to digital transformation in the recording space. So that's pretty much my background. So Moodelizer was started about 8 years ago. It all started with a very basic idea of how to construct a set of audio files and to combine them to be able to create an experience of dynamic audio, pretty much. And it was a core team of a couple of coders, me and a bunch of musicians and producers, engineers, that got together and started experimenting with this. And eventually we found a really cool thing, actually. So it's in one way a fairly simple idea, but in a lot of ways you need to have a very specific knowledge to make it happen, pretty much. We filed for a patent about 6 years ago, which we have gotten. So we have a US, Russia, China, Japan, Korea, and it's filed all over the world. But it's basically a patented format, which results in a package or an audio package. It's our own proprietary file format called .moo, M-O-O. So in that format, you have a set of audio files and a bunch of metadata and different data that guides the technology to be able to play back the audio in the way we want it. And I will get a little bit more into that in a bit. The first thing we did was that, I think 6 years ago, we released a desktop platform that was more geared towards professional and semi-professional people making videos, pretty much. It looked a little bit like Final Cut or Premiere or something like that, where you could actually add music and in a very simple and swift way and change it afterwards. And it's more like the music adopted to the pictures, not like it's usually the other way around when you produce videos. We worked that one for a year or 2 years, and then slowly changed our focus and over to the mobile phone side of the creation of short videos for mobile phones, which is a much larger audience, obviously, and we took all the knowledge we got from the desktop version and we put it into to make a slick, small package for mobile phones that could put the power of creation in the hands of anyone trying to film a video, pretty much. So to get us started, I will now show you so you can listen and get a better understanding of what the dynamic audio music format actually is. So here we have a set of tracks, a bunch of them, that is from our catalog, and we will choose one and play it. And you can hear how it's in a low intensity level. And if I grab the fader and start moving, I can add instruments and change the mix in real time, pretty much. And also I can stop the music with outros. And depending on where I'm at in the intensity or in the mix, if I'm down here, and I will actually play an outro, the outro will sound on that same level of intensity, or be derived from that same mix. So, I mean, this works for all kinds of music. Like that. That's the basic idea of it. It's a piece of music that loops, that plays forever pretty much if you want it, and that you can change and arrange and remix in real time. So you can kind of imagine the power you put in the hands of someone that's trying to create a video using this. So when you have a sound format that you can change in real time, it opens up a huge amount of possibilities of how you can control the sound. Right now, what I showed you, I'm using a manual slider to a fader or like a manual input, but you can also use anything that the phone itself can create in terms of a value. You can use that to control what's actually going on. So for instance, in this example, we've used body tracking. So you can actually see how changing the music with the height of the arms. And so forth. So obviously being able to change music in real time in this way and to actually change the mix and more than just the volume or something like that is obviously something that you can take to a lot of different use cases. We have experimented with a huge amount of cases, and I'm going to show you some of the most fun ones. In this case, we have used facial expression detection. So you actually have a happy smile or a sad face to steer what the music is playing. And in this example, we actually switched between major and minor in the same formats and used that as an experiment as well. I could play it one more time. Another way of playing around with the dynamic audio sound format is to use hand controls, gestures, to remix the track in real time. So it goes. Know that you are burden, dressing, coming forward, showing off now. You can call me so. Hey, know that I am right. Chicken, I am tight. No, bitch, you reach your helmet, tricks, I'm winning with no fight. Flowing as I'm rolling, I'm the biggest one around. You can notice that everything is beat synced. On my crown. And when you try blocking me out, and all of you mocking me now, feel me, I'm rocking you, feel me, I'm rocking us now. Know that you are burden, and so forth. Pretty fun stuff, actually. To get even more deeper into it, you could place separate mixes or separate versions of a song in different places in the room and give that AR space sort of a specific designated sound. So it goes a little something like this. Decide that's the mix for that spot. So that's that spot. And that's the heavy metal spot. We have also experimented with automated functionalities to add a soundtrack to an existing video that you have using the clips and the total length of the video. And you can also use AI detection of objects and people and different things to affect how the soundtrack is playing. And so I'm going to show you a Christmas scene with 2 different types of music too, and you will see how the music is automatically changing along with the clips and the different scenes, and the result is all done automatically in the background. So. So let's play that same video, but with a different piece of music, still automated and fitting to the clips and the length of the video. So that's a few examples of what you can do. We have built our own sound engine that actually is a very small, tiny package that packs a lot of power that can be installed as an SDK into other apps or into phones or like what have you. It's a cross-platform SDK. And like I said before, it's playing back our proprietary file format, MOV files. And we have our own backend software that actually authors these files. And I can't really give away exactly what's under the hood because that's the secret sauce in this whole mixture. But one thing that we have worked a lot with is compression and trying to get file sizes down to real small packages because especially in some countries that don't have the greatest like speeds and connection speeds, they want to have the songs to be in really like down to 500K or those kind of sizes. So we've experimented a lot with compression algorithms and different. Now we're using OGG Vorbis for our compression, and that's also because OGG supports multi-channel compression, which we need for doing what we're doing. And also taken into account when we mix and master our files that there are certain things you should avoid, like a lot of low-end content and stuff like that, especially considering it should play back on a phone. On the other hand, still though, you want it to sound good when you use headphones or if you play it back in any other device. So it's a balancing act. So next step is we're releasing our own app now in the beginning of next year. That will have a lot of these features, not all of them, but a lot of them. And you can download it and play around with it yourself and check it out. And also, we're looking for talent out there. So please, there is a jobs page at our webpage, moodelizer.com, that you can go to. And also make sure to visit our booth in Gathertown, where we will hang out and like answer any further questions, or we can even do interviews and take job applications right in there. So I think that's pretty much what I had to say right now. So I will open up for a Q&A and switch into webcam mode. So bring it on. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Carl. That was really interesting. I'm just going to see if there's got any questions in the room. Do you have any? Oh, we've got a couple.
Hello, and thank you for this presentation. My question comes related to the content, to the music itself. So I hope I understood well what you presented, but I guess all the content is from you, and so you produce, your company produces all the content. And do you consider also opening this process to be able for other users to input their own multi-layered content in their application using your technology?
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's very true that the stuff you heard right now is music we have produced and prepared for this, and that's partially because of copyright issues and things like that. The technology and the way of putting this together, we have done a lot of experiments with existing songs. You could take a regular, like linear, normal song and adopt some of the technology we have to that and make it more fun. The best result you're actually getting when you're dealing with stems, or if you have more separated material, it gets better. We have some collaborations with record companies and others that are like getting on board on the early stage of this. So obviously we want to open it up for as many like musicians and artists as possible. And also the next step is to open up the authoring software that we have, so we can enable anyone to create MOV files or create files in this format. We have like experiment with doing plugins for the regular DAWs and stuff like that, to be able to make it part of your workflow and export it as well as a stereo file. You export it as a MOV file to access these kind of functionality like down the line. So yes, is the answer to that.
Okay, that was great. There was, yes, one more.
I was wondering about the possibility of using, this adaptive music audio for games, and how you could potentially augment like a game soundtrack based on like the controller input, or based on the situation that you're in, even working with the physics engine. And I was wondering how, if that's something y'all have done, or is like, I guess I was wondering maybe what an approach to that might look like.
Yeah, I mean, it's very suitable for doing those kind of things. And we have experimented with a whole host of different ways of using it. We have done, for instance, a patch where we used Unity and did VR things where the music is like addressing pretty much the space you're in and stuff like that. The main reason why we don't have a specific game application right now is that we had to decide on somewhere to go. Pretty much we can't like take on the whole world at once. So, but the gaming thing, we have had a lot of discussions. So, and we're very open if people have ideas of how to like use our format and like take it to the next step in gaming. We're open for discussions, and like just feel free to get in contact with us if you have any, if you want to experiment and do things with it. So I can also add that we have quite a large catalog of content and music of all different kinds. that we control all the copyrights to, and that we're very we want the technology to be out there, so we're very generous in the way we're spreading that music as well. So
that's great. Do we have any more questions?
not in the room.
We had an online question, which I think follows on from some of the stuff you mentioned. So this was, if a user uploads their own music formatted correctly, how long does it take to prepare it for use with your technology?
The answer is immediately. I mean, it doesn't take any extra time to it. I mean, if you there is a rule of how the files have to look for them to work correctly. As long as you follow those rules, then it's a pretty instantaneous process to create a MOV file. Like I said, we have a proprietary format, so and the software that actually does it exports the files in pretty much no time. So there is another question. Hope that answered the question.
Yes, and there's a technical question for you, just to see if you're on your toes, from Peter online, which is, which OGG codec are you using for compression?
All right. So now it's time for the reveal part of this talk, that I'm not actually the coder behind this. I'm the music producer. So the exact, I wouldn't want to venture into which the exact codec we're using, because, well, I'm not the one doing it, but I can probably get an answer from one of my crew who might be listening to this. If they could Slack me, I could tell you.
Okay, great. Have we got anything else? I don't think we do. Okay, well, thank you, Carl. That was really interesting. I'm looking forward to see what happens with the technology. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you for listening.